Martin, great to have you back on the podcast. How are you?
Thanks, Jared. Always good to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Really excited. We're only a few weeks out from your big event. Would love to hear your excitement, team's excitement, and maybe just kind of start by giving us a preview of what's to come.
Yeah, for sure. No, we're super excited. We're only 3 weeks away now, so we'll be in the Venetian once again in Las Vegas. There's a few things I'm really excited about. As an event organizer, we're always looking at how can we evolve the event going into our 5th year, and what can we bring to the Built Well community that's going to push it forward. First of all, there's a few speakers I'm really excited about that haven't been announced yet, but are going to be announced very shortly. And so I'll give you a bit of a scoop. One of those is Eric Wu, the founder of Opendoor. So who created Opendoor. He doesn't really speak that much. And so to have him on the Blueprint stage has been a dream of ours for a long time. So we're really excited about that. Also, Ankur from Bilt Rewards is going to be up on the stage. So we're going to announce that soon. And John Kite, CEO of Kite Realty. So all of these speakers will be announced very shortly. So they're not even on the website at the moment as I speak to you. So there's a number of perspectives that we feel we're bringing to this year that maybe we haven't done before. And that's some founders are getting real traction in the built world. So obviously Minna from Elise AI is the standout story there with their recent 250 million Series E. And so that's fantastic. But then, some of the big overarching issues of today, like AI, we want to have perspectives that are also outside of the built world. So we're very excited to have Snowflake join Catality and John Rogers on the stage to kind of provide that. So there's a few things there that we think, in terms of a couple of speakers we've always hoped to get, a couple of stories which I think are important for the future of the built world in terms of it getting real traction and even being used in other sectors, but having their start. So Minna's stories, for example. And then, the other thing is that we've put a lot of effort into our vision stage, and that's just reimagining how we live, how communities are developed. And so we've been very excited to bring related companies and Sam Charney, who are building these really impressive and interesting communities and leaning on partnerships or building a different way, or walkable communities with Ryan from Cul-de-sac. These type of movements or trends is exactly what Blueprint's all about. And then obviously we care about technology and how you can do those in the built world, but it's also about thinking differently. We feel this year we've got a really good spread of people who are just trying new things. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, last year was my first year attending. I thought you guys did a great job. I go to a lot of conferences across a bunch of different industries too. So for comparison, you got a good mix of content, which is tough, right? Like when you're doing built world and not just like prop tech or just construction, right? There's a lot of content to cover. You did a really good job of highlighting, the most notable like opportunities across all of these different sessions. It didn't feel like some of the conferences I go to where it's just people talking. It felt like there was talking with a purpose, which is awesome when that can happen. Which is not like, for those saying like, oh, I thought that's the whole point. It is not an easy thing to do, putting on a great event like you do. The topics change throughout the year so much. So like to get timely topics and have a really good panel of speakers is not an easy task. So kudos to you and your team for that. I had a lot of fun last year. Really excited for this year because I felt like we were very new. So to create a lot more content this year, make some good relationships, and continue highlighting what's going on in the built world. Is there anything in particular you want to highlight for this year that maybe, I know this was kind of the almost full year post kind of acquisition. I don't know if that's impacted anything in terms of the event, but I'll leave it to you to share.
Yeah, well, and first of all, on the kind of production of sessions and content is obviously very important to what we do. That's where I do have to give a big shout out to my colleague and friend, David Hirschman, who's the Chief Content Officer. And he really cares about, the quality of the content that we put out, how we write it. And we think about it in a bit of a different way to other kind of events. And we do try and it is a hard balancing act to give every sector within the built world a fair shout. We have so many amazing kind of ideas and presenters competing for our stage. And we are conscious of, are we giving enough stage time to certain areas or certain movements? And that's really what we're looking for, is where there's been a shift or a movement or something that could really change the potential of how the whole of the build world is going to be. That's what we are striving for. So that's kind of how we think about our agenda. So that's maybe why we do that. For the other question, in terms of, yes, we were acquired by Inman, who are a very well-known publisher in the brokerage space, and Beringer Capital, private equity firm, who have a lot of media properties like Benzinga and other media aspects. So one of the exciting aspects of that is, we have there's some relationships. I have myself gone to a number of the Inman events in New York and San Diego, kind of taken a sliver of their tech forward program, and that's been really great to engage with certain companies like Lone Wolf Technologies or Realtor.com, or some of these entities that they have really good relationships, and they'll be actually joining Blueprint, like CoStar, etc. And that's certainly a benefit from our relationship. And also they have a team of journalists, and we look at events. We've definitely been an event focused team. David, who I've referenced, is a former journalist, but Inman have a suite of journalists, and they produce content that will actually be something that we're going to be working on at Blueprint. And at the event, we're going to have a big reveal of a brand that we are launching, which is a research subscription product, which we're super excited about. So we'll be teasing a few things before the event, but at the event, we will do an actual launch around that. And the exciting area that we'll really dive into is in the operational aspect of the built world. So more to come on that, but that's certainly been great to work with Ben and Beringer, who have that experience in terms of producing these. And we've been working closely with Brad Hargreaves as well, who we're a big fan of, and has produced the incredible Thesis Driven, which I consume myself on a daily basis and absolutely love.
What is something that will be discussed? You don't have to go into too much detail, that maybe you think is the most timely piece of information, or if there's like either a session that you really want to highlight right here. I know that every year there's always something leading into an event that
Yeah.
every talk is notable, but there's always like one or two that's like spot on with something happening over the last couple of weeks. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah. Oh, so there's a few. There's different ones for different kind of people, and that's the great aspect of Blueprint, is it serves many different kind of angles. So, one of them I'm particularly excited for is a panel that Don Beveridge from 20 for 20, who does some really great insights into the multifamily area, is looking at the tech stack, and how do you as a user kind of compare all these different technologies and separate what's really meaningful for your business to maybe a shiny object, or to look under the surface. And he's got some really fantastic CTOs and CEOs like Melanie French from RR Living, or Jeremy Petit on that with him, or Josh Gamp from the UDR. So that's one I'm definitely looking forward, because I think it's a true challenge for anyone adopting technology in the built world at this time. So that's one. And then on the other aspect is not necessarily presentation, but it's a segment, and that's the vision stage, because we have brought more and more of these developers doing interesting projects. And this year we've got a great partnership with ICSE, who have a whole retail summit, but they're also presenting. There's a project called Boulevard in Las Vegas itself, and we're going to be in Vegas. So they're going to present one of the JLL actually is going to present on that. So that's super exciting, alongside Related, Charney, and then also the city of Santa Clara with Rethink Development. So all these kind of like how do we change how we look at building and communities is, I think, truly fascinating, and it's an area that we're only getting stronger in at Blueprint. So those are just a sample of the ones that I'm really looking forward to.
As you look forward to like this new relationship that you have post acquisition, right? What do you think it continues to bring to the Blueprint brand moving forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I've been thinking a lot about brand over the last year, and particularly when you start looking at launching other products than you're originally known for, it's important to consider the brand itself. So in terms of the Blueprint brand, how have I always looked at the Blueprint brand over the last few years? I think we've been known as being different, as you've said, kind of approaching things in a different way, maybe a bit edgier, maybe a bit more well, a lot more forward thinking than your kind of traditional events that are out there. And people expect a certain aspect of, they're going to hear insights that they don't normally hear at Blueprint, and maybe a bolder discussions, a different energy. And so that's in terms of our brand, something we always want to aspire to in everything that we do. And then when we launch a research product, it's like, well, what are we looking at with that product, and how does that kind of complement the brand in a new form? And I think the key thing for the subscription product that we're rolling out is that we will look to, can we provide meaningful value to people, deeper insights than are available? And just as you kind of described the content and why that was meaningful to you, we know that there's a hell of a lot of content out there around all these types of things. So for us to provide meaning, we have to go deeper, and we have to lean into the opportunity there. And we think it's being underserved at the moment. So that's why we're really excited, and we think it's additive to our brand. Do that, there's almost an aspect of our role is to sell the dream of the built world to the wider world, and to get traction there, and to get traction amongst owners and operators looking to incorporate things into their business models, or to enable transformative technology to take hold. So that's something we take really seriously and continue to do. So so those are maybe the considerations about the brand.
What's something you know today that you wish you knew when you first took the reins to Blueprint?
That I how much I've been rolling up my sleeves, I guess, on a daily basis. But that's, we are kind of like I've worked in large organizations that have, a lot of, kind of divisions and what have you. And I've also worked in kind of smaller ones, and we're certainly kind of more, we look at ourselves like a Navy SEAL unit essentially, and we're very hand to hand with certain things that, I'm applying to people on a one-on-one basis. But I think that's important. We don't want to lose sight of that, even as we grow to be a larger show. So that's there's certainly a lot of hand-to-hand work involved, but it's the details that we hope kind of provide a special experience for people. And the context that again, just as you said, we're covering so much. We're covering construction, we're covering real estate, and within real estate we're covering transactions as well as building real estate. So to be successful in that, you have to have the context of how it all fits together, and also to be able to help that along. And that requires a lot of work. But the ultimate endpoint is that we can provide a more meaningful experience for everyone.
I like it. Anything you want to share before we wrap up here in terms of just what's next? This will go out fairly quick, but would love to look forward to seeing you first off in person.
Yeah, we look forward to, definitely look forward to seeing you. I think the main thing is that if you're thinking about coming to Blueprint and you haven't been before, I would definitely ask around just to kind of see what other people said. And then the other aspect is that, our event is evolving over the years. And so, it's very different from the kind of 4 or 5 years ago to now, in that we've grown a lot. And there is, even if you're a VC looking for startups, there's a place for you. If you're an owner or an operator just looking to bounce ideas off other CTOs, COOs, there's a place for you. If you're a founder looking for clients, to do business, there's a place for you. If you're somebody, I've met multiple people when I go to other people's events who said they've met their co-founder at Blueprint, or they've, they've basically, it's changed their way of thinking about the built world because they got inspired by a totally different sector. So that would be my kind of main message, that if you're on the fence, come along and see what it's all about. Because usually when people come and they understand Blueprint, then they come every year and they love it.
Martin, always a pleasure catching up. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this event. I am as well, and we'll see you soon in person.
Fantastic, Jared. Can't wait. Look forward to seeing you soon.